Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we're going to discuss about spider mites. Yes, the time has finally come to tell you how I am actually staying on top of the spider mite infestation that I've been battling with for the past 2 years, 2 years and a half, 3 years, who knows, so many years. And to be clear, I'm not referring to the normal spider mite that creates webs on an orchid. I am referring to the dreaded false spider mite, the red one, the one that is immortal. So if you are a long-time subscriber, you already know all the trials and all of the history with the spider mites and everything that I tried. But because I have new subscribers every day, this is for you. Let me just recap really fast. I tried a lot of things against these guys, starting with non-toxic methods such as neem oil, rosemary oil, garlic, you name it. I tried most of the things recommended for spider mites, as well as insecticide, or actually miticide against spider mites. And nothing was 100% efficient, sadly. And I'll talk a little bit about them, tell you why they were not efficient, and so on. So for the past 3 months or so, I am experimenting with something new. And I'm happy to report it works. We found the solution finally. And it's actually a stupidly simple solution. So as I was saying, first of all, I tried the neem oil because this is what most people recommend. And I do have to agree that maybe neem oil is indeed useful against the false spider mite if you can treat 1 or 2 or 3 orchids regularly. I, however, had about 150 orchids to treat. I could not keep up with the treatment, but I did my best. Now, why doesn't neem oil actually is effective from 1 or 2 applications? Well, because it is a viscous oil. The oils work through suffocation. It is a very beautiful method. It doesn't imply anything toxic, doesn't imply that the spider mites will create immunity. It's beautiful. Problem is, the oil is just so viscous, so thick, and you're using so little of it that what I observed happened was that the oil was not distributed evenly. So that meant there were parts of the orchid that did not benefit from the oil, and in those parts, the spider mites, including their eggs, were still alive. And I tried so many times to deal with neem oil, nothing worked. I still found live spider mites living their life like nothing happened, nothing. And I tried so much with neem oil that I actually got sick because I hate the smell. It smells horrible. Not to mention that stuff was quite expensive for the amount that I actually needed. I found that rosemary oil was even more inefficient than neem oil, and I also tried to use vegetable oil in the form of sunflower oil, but that was even worse. It created spots of oil on my orchids that got really hard. They were a pain to remove. The orchids didn't like it. I lost an orchid because of my oil experiments. So no, vegetable oil, no for me. And at some point I tried hairspray, which worked. And a little update, my mom's Phalaenopsis orchids, the ones that had the treatment with hairspray, are doing fine. They're spider mite free, they're actually spiking right now. It worked. Problem with hairspray is that not all brands are equal, and one in particular managed to burn some leaves. But even the hairspray had its limitations, and I've discovered that with my Leodoro Phalaenopsis this summer, you might remember. So what the hairspray does is create a barrier on top of the leaf, a barrier through which the spider mites, including their eggs, cannot breathe. Thus, it is a mechanical suffocation. The downside is, if you have orchids with sheaths, like I had on my Phalaenopsis, it will not work because the hairspray will not adhere and make that seal, and whatever spider mite or egg is in between the sheaths, no, it will survive. So even with the hairspray, the spider mites on my Leodoro survived. Now you might remember that I went ahead and actually used a pesticide, and I used abamectin. Problem with that is it is such a overused substance that spider mites, some of them, are immune to it already. And I've been warned about that by somebody at the Ministry of Agriculture here who actually specialized in pests developing immunity. So I tried that pesticide, and for the main part it kind of worked, but I did still have orchids that had living spider mites. So part of them still survived, and they created more outbreaks on certain orchids. And I had a choice. Either I go get a permit and I get another insecticide or pesticide because I cannot use the same substance too many times in 1 year due to that tolerance to the substance, or I become inventive. And you guys, I went full creative mode on this one. So one of the things that I actually did not try with spider mites are horticultural oils. I was already over oils because they simply did not work for me. So as I was reading about horticultural oils, I found, I don't remember if it was an article, a forum discussion, a blog post, I found something that said the following things. If I find the link, I will share it with you, but I don't think I will. It said something like the horticultural oils are poorly understood because the new versions of these oils are lightweight. Thus, they do not affect plants as much as oils in general because they're lightweight. So I thought, what the hey, I can give them a try as well. Went on Amazon trying to purchase something. It was expensive. Very expensive. At the time, I was really not in the posture of spending money, but from that little excerpt that I read, there was something stuck in my mind, and this is the expression lightweight oil. I wonder, where did I hear this expression before? And then the more I read about horticultural oils, the more things started to add up. So I'll share with you in the description one of the articles that I actually saved that talks about the different types of horticultural oils. Ones that are derived from vegetable oils and the ones that are actually derived from very refined petroleum oil and paraffin oil. Well, hello! And not only is paraffin contained in this product, it is the main ingredient because it is listed first in the list of ingredients. And if you didn't know, the first ingredient listed on a beauty product is the one in the highest ratio. And that's a little something I learned from watching a beauty channel here on YouTube. There you go. So what I did was use this oil like I would use neem oil. I got myself a spray bottle with some water, some liquid dish soap, a few drops, and some oil. Now, before I kind of knew how to dose it, I went a little overboard and I did some experiments. And of course, I did experiments on my Leodoro. I used about 10% the first time that I tried it, and it was too much. Way too much. So what happened was my orchid got rid of spider mites like in an instant, completely. They were gone, erased from the face of the earth. It was amazing. But in the process, I did manage to kill the orchid as well, so I reduced the quantity. So I reduced the quantity a little bit more, and things were a little better, but not yet perfect. As you can see, I have a little bit of discoloration on this Phalaenopsis. She had spider mites. She has 0 spider mites now, but I used a little bit too much oil, and I think I can still feel it. This happened 3 months ago. Now, the orchid didn't die, but it doesn't look so good. I washed it a little bit, but it's an oil. You kind of need to wash it with soap. So in this case, again, I used a little bit too much oil. And then I had a moment of smartness, because I cannot be smart all the time. I have good ideas, but the universe has to balance, and I have to go and do stupid stuff. But then I read about how to dose horticultural oils, and I came to the conclusion that I only need 2, maximum 3% oil to actually do the job. So that's what I did for the next orchids. This is one of them. I think you can see the spider mite traits. She had a lot of spider mites. I treated this one about a month ago, and she is currently free. This orchid didn't look spectacular from the beginning, so this is not the oil causing this. This orchid really took the treatment well, and she is actually spider mites free. She's not the only one treated. I also had a lot of spider mites on my Renanthera monachica, and I treated her. And she is spider mite free at the moment as well, given the sheaths and everything. So what happens here is the oil smothers the spider mites, it actually kills the eggs as well. And in the case it doesn't kill the egg, when they hatch, they will find some leaves covered in oil. And that's not pretty. That's what kills the spider mites. And in the meantime, the orchid is perfectly fine. Again, she has been sprayed once, only once, about a month or a month and a half ago. The latest one that I sprayed, I actually sprayed it today, is the Rechara. Now on this one I found a few, not many, but it's enough for me to know there's trouble. So I sprayed it this morning. Let me just show you. If I touch the leaf, see, you cannot actually see the oil. You cannot see droplets or anything. If I touch the leaf, there's just the slightest bit of shine on my finger. I have no idea if it shows on camera. Slightest bit of shine, but it's very even. And by the way, this is why the sheath is split in two, because some oil got in there, and I think there are some buds there. So I had to cut the sheath because it was wet. So to recap, what I did was add the soil to a quantity of water, and I think the percentage that is safe to use is about 2% oil. And then I added a few drops of dish detergent. This will make the oil mix in better with the water and overall have a more even application. Until today, I only used it once on my orchids, but there's always a chance that I might miss some parts. I don't know. This is why I'm still looking at my orchids and seeing if there are any other spider mites. If I see one spider mite, I'm gonna use it again. But for now, I can say that one application of this stuff is working amazing. And the fun part is, spider mites will never develop immunity to this stuff because it doesn't kill them chemically in any way. It kills them mechanically. It suffocates them. That's all it does. It might have some other properties, but I'm not interested in that. I only want to suffocate them. And this stuff actually works. So the brand I'm using, yeah, I was drinking some Coke. So the brand I'm using is this one. This is body oil. It's cheap as heck compared to horticultural oils, but I have a funny suspicion that baby oil will work the same way. Just look at the label here. If you see paraffin, I think you're good. It should be either petroleum, either paraffin. This is what most beauty products, beauty oils, body oils, whatever you want to call them, this is what they contain. And that is about it. And that's the story of how I am staying on top of spider mites. And yes, the insecticide or pesticide helped, but it really didn't help completely. If I would use only pesticide, they will come back. I know they will, and they will ravage my collection. So what I'm doing now is spraying whatever orchid I see has a few spider mites. I don't need to see a big infestation. I know better than that. When I have a big infestation, I was already way too late. So when I see 1 or 2 spider mites, it's time for action. And the best advice that I can give you in the most serious possible way is that if you see 1 live spider mite on your orchid, it's time to take action. Do not wait until you see 2 or 3. The more you wait, the more you ignore, the more you play with some soapy water, trust me, the worse it will get. Let us also not forget the disease that the spider mites carry, which infects Phalaenopsis orchids, and it's the orchid flagg virus. So all the more reason for you to take care of spider mites immediately. And what I just showed you, I'm not saying is the perfect solution, it's just what I find good at the moment, what works for me. Of course, I will keep an eye on it. So far it's looking so good and I'm so happy. So if this inspired you in any way, then I'm happy. If you want to test it out, test it on 1 orchid first, see how it goes before actually treating your entire collection. I am a desperate woman. At this point in my orchid hobby, I would do anything to get rid of spider mites. I actually tried to drown them for 12 hours and I almost drowned my orchids. That's the level where I'm at, so I'm willing to try anything. So if you are in the same position, why not? Give it a go. Mind you, this treatment is meant for ornamental orchids. I'm not sure about the long-term effects on edible plants or smokable plants, okay? So keep that in mind, not intended for plants you intend to eat or smoke in any way, okay? Just getting that out there. Okay guys, that's about it. Hope you found this useful. If you've enjoyed my video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos and don't forget to turn on notifications so you will be alerted whenever I post something new. And on that bombshell, I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Gosh, you guys, in this rhythm, I will find use for mascara and lipstick and all of that with orchids. One of you guys suggested I use nail polish for a certain thing, and I will. I'll give it a go, I'll film it, and soon I'll have a stash of my makeup and a stash of makeup for my orchids. Why not? They're my girls. I love them. I love you guys. I do.